When you're new to something, when you're an adult beginner who has lots of big dreams and hopes and pressure to get it right, we oftentimes can find ourselves in the messy middle just doing. But sometimes we need a pause. We need to step aside and see, am I on the right path? Is this working for me? But without a good roadmap, this can be really challenging. Let's jump in and see, how do I figure out when I need a new roadmap? Is this map working in my Learn to Swim journey as an adult? When I first moved to Seattle, way back in the day before there were Google Maps or Waze or whatever handy dandy map was in your pocket. This was back in the day of good old paper map. I was young and I had my car loaded up with all of my worldly possessions, my stuffed bear and my one houseplant sitting next to me as my co-pilot in the car. I had an idea of where I needed to go. North on I-5, the road that goes from Mexico to Canada on the West Coast. I had some landmarks I had to reach on the way. I needed to pick up some stuff I had mailed. I needed to find the house that I was going to be living in. And then I needed to find the train station because I had a training in Milwaukee before I was going to start living in my new house. One of these stops was on a street called Angeline. And I figured if I could find Angeline, then I just have to go with the numbers, see if the numbers were going up or the numbers were going down, and I was going to find the place where I'd mailed my stuff. What I didn't know is that Angeline had lots, like 50 tiny little sections that all dead end. I couldn't go from one to the next, like a nice staircase building up to where my stuff actually was. But I kept hitting a dead end, and then I'd have to find a new way and another dead end, and I could not figure my way out. I was doing. Meanwhile, that time to catch the train, this pressure was building. At some point, I had to stop, get out of my car, pull that big old map out, put it on the hood of my car, and really study and see what the heck is going on here. I had to take a pause, step back, and dive into that map so I'd stop hitting all these dead ends. Have you ever experienced something similar to this? Maybe in your swimming journey where you're busily getting in and doing activities or having people give you tips and tricks, and yet you don't really seem to be getting to your destination. This is where we gotta hop out of the pool and take a look at the roadmap. So you might know this feeling of, I keep hitting dead ends. This is a good clue in your swimming to take a step back and look at the roadmap. But here is another essential part of this roadmap. Do I have the right map? Oftentimes, when people are learning to swim, they're not in the right map. They're in this map that is more advanced, or is a side map, or is a different kind of map. In order to hook together all those little streets of Angeline, I needed the Seattle map, the Seattle City map, not the Washington map, not the California map. I needed the right map for where I'm at. With swimming maps, most of the time for adults, they are looking at an advanced map. You're like way back where I started on my journey in California, in Southern California, not knowing how to find that big freeway that takes me from Southern California to Washington. You're looking at a Washington state map, a Seattle map, and you're way back in California, right? This is what happens for a lot of adult swimmers, is that they have somebody who's very experienced and telling them what to do with their arms and their legs and front crawl and treading water and all these really kind of advanced things. And you're like, hang on, something is just not even making sense. This is another clue when we know, not only do I need to stop and look at the map, I need to evaluate and see, maybe this map that I'm looking at isn't the right one for where I'm at. I'm still back trying to figure out how to get on the freeway. I need that city map first. So if you're doing something that keeps dead ending or just doesn't seem right, it doesn't seem to connect or land, you keep trying to follow the instructions, you keep trying to do what people are telling you to do, and it just doesn't seem to be working, this is when we want to jump onto a new map. Pop down into today's show notes and grab your map that is the big map to see, where am I? Which one do I need to hone in on? Am I on the right swimming map to bring freedom and joy and have an amazing time like we do in Hawaii? Aloha!